Good morning, my dear students. How are you all? Hopefully, you all are busy with the studies. Just I'm giving advice to keep on utilizing this time fruitfully as it provides ample time for the self studies. Actually, I was supposed to start a new chapter in history, but yesterday I got a call from one of the student and was requested to explain about the topic federalism, the second chapter of NCRT of your civics book. So, my dear students, here I am going to give an outline of the chapter Federalism. Before starting the chapter, let us understand the meaning of federalism. Federalism is a system of government in which the power is shared between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. Or we may explain it. It is a system of government in which entities such as states or provinces share power with a national government. This is the simple definition of federalism. Let's take an example of our country, India. In India, we have single citizenship provided by the central or union government. But we all are accountable to both union as well as central government. Therefore, the governing body of India is divided into central as well as state level. One more level is there in Indian constitution, but we will be discussing it later. So broadly speaking, federalism is a type of the government where there is a division of power among the state as well as center. Hopefully it is crystal clear to you. Now just try to go through some of the key points of federal system of government. First of all, the first point goes like that. There are two or more levels of the government. As I already discussed with you, the first is union or central government, and the second form of the government is the state government. Second point, existence and authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. Means each and every constitution of the different countries, it has been well managed, it has been well uh, given or written that there will be equal division of the power among the center and state. But in rare cases, in some cases, the center is vested with some special power, which is called like prerogative. This is term we can use the prerogative. Prerogative means like in Hindi it is called special adhikar, means किसी को special अधिकार देना, that is called prerogative. Let's discuss about the third point. Different tiers of government govern the same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in a specific matter of legislation, taxation, as well as administration. Take the lively example of now we know the pandemic of corona. Now we all are struggling with this disease. So what happens? You must have seen that center is issuing the guideline that what we are supposed to do nowadays in this session. But sometimes what happened before asking the permission or before getting the permission from the center, some of the state government had already extended the second session of this lockdown. Why? Because this is the special power given to the state itself. Means now both the government, state government as well as central government are working hand in hand in order to for the smooth running of the country. Clear? Now let's go through the next point. The jurisdiction of respective levels or tiers of government are specified in the constitution. It has been well mentioned in the constitution, especially in the constitution of India, as we have adopted this federalism. So different types of which are the powers given to the state, which type of powers are vested to the center, as well as Panchayati Raj and municipalities. Everything has been mentioned earlier. The last one, next key point. In Indian constitution, the term federalism has been taken from the constitution of France. My dear student, I already discussed in this class. That means in our constitution, most of the key points have been copied from the constitution of different countries. For instance, the post of the prime president has been taken from the American constitution. Now federalism has been taken from the constitution of France. Single citizenship has been taken from the constitution of Britain, and so on. So this federalism has been taken from the constitution of France. Now let's move on to the next point. The fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed. Unilaterally changed, just give more attention to this term, means any of the changes, if a state is going to be state is going to make, then first and foremost it has to ask permission from the center. Means no state can take decision means without taking the consent from the center or union government. Such changes require the consent of both level of the government. Means the state government, if the governor, if the chief minister of the state, as well as the legislative council or assembly is passing any bill, then it goes to the center and the center has to approve for that. So it becomes the law and we can function accordingly. Next point, courts have the power to interpret the constitution as it functions as a watchdog. This is a nice term, the watchdog. That's why I knowingly written here. See, auditors, courts, these are considered to be the watchdog who become very much vigilant to see whether the rules and regulations are being followed well or not. Like, what is the job of an auditor? The auditors minutely go through the record books, accounts book, and also that any minor mistakes can be bring into the notice of the concerned authority. So here also, if any of the problems takes place or any of the problems may arise between the state and the center, on that time the courts has the ultimate power to interpret the constitution. Next, sources of the revenue for each level of the government are specified to ensure its financial autonomy. I already discussed in the class, that means any of the country's economy is also depending on the taxes and the revenues being collected through the different export and import of the items, because our economy is open economy, not the closed economy. I told you already, two types of economics are there: open economy and closed economy. Open economy in the sense when there is a no bar or between the import and export of the items, and closed economy, suppose China. Now because of China the entire world is suffering. So what happens if Indian government wishes, then Indian government should have the closed economical collaboration with China. That means neither Indian government will allow China to export anything, neither our country will import anything to China. Okay, so what happens? Different types of the taxation revenues are well mentioned in the Constitution of India. You must have studied in economics the two types of taxes: direct tax and indirect taxes. Okay, direct taxes are the taxes which are imposed and collected by the central or the union government, and indirect taxes are being collected by the state or municipalities, and then some share has to be distributed with the central government also. So our government, in this form of the government, there will be three different kinds of the list: central list, state list, and concurrent list. I am repeating: central list, state list, and concurrent list. Central list means all the matters, taxations, expenses which are being imposed by the central or the union government, or all the subjects which are mainly meant for central government are called the central list, the part of the central list. Second comes the state list. State list in the sense whenever there is a power division or wherever there is any tax collection and all which is being met by the state government, that is called the state list. And the last list is the concurrent list. The ideal of the concurrent list has been taken from the Constitution of Australia. I repeat, the ideal of concurrent list has been taken from the Constitution of Australia. In this list, all those matters will be mentioned which are considered to be the part of state as well as union. For example, education. Education is a subject which is the part of concurrent list, means the central government is also working on this as well as state government. Okay, so far my dear student, if you discuss about the subject mentions in the mention in the list, different list, so I just want to make it very clear that in central list 97 subjects have been mentioned. In the state list 66 subjects have been mentioned, and in concurrent list 47 subjects has to be mentioned or it has already mentioned. For example, if you discuss about the income tax, each and every year your parents are also bothered about the income tax, or all those whose salaries are high, they are bothered about the tax. Okay, so what happens? Income tax is purely imposed and collected by the central government, so it is obviously this is the tax collected by union or central tax. Clear? Indian Railway, whatever the profit, whatever the things they are getting, the Indian Railway, it comes under the central list. But whenever we discuss about the agriculture, whenever we discuss about the revenue collections of the state and all, it is a part of state list. But education is the part of concurrent list. It comes in both. So 97 subjects in central, 66 subjects in state, and 47 subjects in concurrent list. Now, till now, I don't think that any doubt you have. Now let's move on to our country, that India. How India is considered to be a federal country. My dear students, the Constitution declares India as a union of states under Article 1 of Indian Constitution. If you go through the first article of Indian Constitution, I already discussed in the class that till now 447 articles are there in Indian Constitution. So Article 1st states India as a union of the states. Although the word federation is not used, Indian Union is based on the principle of federation. It originally provided two-tier system of government, central government or union government as well as state government. A third tier or tier of federation was added in the form of panchayats and municipalities under 73rd amendments of Indian Constitution. Amendment is a tool by which we can interpret, we can change the rules and regulations of the parliament, of the government, okay, of the constitution. So as per the 73rd amendments of Indian Constitution, third level of the government had set up in India, which is called Panchayati Raj system or municipality system. So now in India, we are basically three tier of the government: central system, central government, state government, as well as Panchayati Raj or municipalities. Now, the most important topic we are going to discuss, my dear student, that topic is totally based on the types of federalism. Basically, the federalism has been categorized in two main categories: coming together federation and holding together federation. Now this is one of the most important topic we are going to discuss. So my dear students, let's discuss about first point, coming together federation. Coming together federation. This agreement includes independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit. Suppose many of the states are coming together and they are forming one big unit, so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identities that increase their security. See, here two terms are very important terms. First term I just want to explain is sovereignty. What do you mean by sovereignty? Sovereignty is a condition under which a person, individual, state or country can make the law, rules and regulations for their own. So since we are a sovereign government, so our government has the full right to form the government. Clear? So whenever the small states are coming together, so they are not losing their sovereignty. They have the full power. They have the full power to form the government, but they are bringing their unity also. For example, take the example of our neighboring countries, Bangladesh and Bhutan. For example, if Bangladesh and Bhutan want to form a big union, or then what happens? You see, Bangladesh, India and Bhutan, they are in a sequence. So what happens if suppose Indian government also gave the consent to form the coming together federation? So what happens if India gives her consent to form a big union, then they can make for this all three nations has to bring their sovereignty together, means they will bring their sovereignty together, my dear students. So this is the way. But see, one more thing is that whenever they are bringing their sovereignty, it doesn't mean they are losing their own identity. No, they will be maintaining their own identity. For example, the Bangladesh will be known as Bangladesh, Bhutan will be known as Bhutan, India will be known as India. But we are retaining our identity, and we are not losing our identity. This is the coming together federation. Clear? Some of the countries like USA, Switzerland and Australia, they formed together and constituted coming together federation in order to perform betterly. Next, holding together federation. Holding together federation is the best example you can find in India. Means where there is a well division of the power among the center as well as state. In this agreement, a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent states and the national government. Here, the central government tends to be more powerful than state government. Obviously, if you see Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, if you see the difference, so what happens? Generally, all the important decisions, bills and all first has to be brought in Lok Sabha. Especially money bill. Whenever the matter comes of money bill, then money bill can introduce only and only in Lok Sabha. In the same manner, what happens when there is a division of the power on that time, ultimately the central or union government holds the ultimate power. For example, your parents are the government employees. Okay, some of them are working in under the state government, some of them working under the central government. But you find out the difference. The persons who are working under the central government, they are getting many amenities, many other facilities also. The DA, TA and all the other allowances will be there. Okay, so what does it mean? It means the central government has given the prerogative over the state government. Some units are granted special power. Okay, what are the countries which are the best example for that? India, Spain, France, etc. A number of countries are there. So clear the two types of the federalism: the coming together federation, where the two or more state or country together come to form a big state or the country. Okay, for the betterment, but they are bringing their sovereignty but not losing their identity. Second, holding together federation, where there is a well division of power between the center and state. So my dear student, now the last topic we are going to go through, the reasons for the success of federalism in India. Why federalism is totally successful in India? Number of reasons are there, but we will start as per your convenience. I have written the proper allocation of power among the union, state and panchayat. As per the constitution, there will be or there is a well division of power among the center, state and panchayats. For example, what are the matters of the center? The center is doing with that. What are the matters of the state? The state is looking into that. And what are the matters to be looked into by the panchayats or municipality? They are looking into. But all these three government are in a good relationship or in a link. Okay, sometimes it happens. Take example, I belong to Jharkhand. So what happens in Jharkhand? We are having now coalition government between the Congress and Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Okay, political party is different, but in the center we are having BJP as our national party. So what happens there is the difference between the political issue, political idea, but our government cannot function without the taking the consent from center, because ultimately center has been vested more power. Clear? Second point, the nature of the democratic politics in our country. I gave the example, that means politics, even if there will be number of different types of political parties in the state, but these political parties are also accountable to the central government, whether it be the BJP, Congress, Samajwadi Party, Bahujan Samaj Party, and so on. Third one, the creation of linguistic states. Before going through this one, I am saying you the meaning of linguistic state. Linguistic state means the state which is carved out or which is formed on the basis of the language they spoke. The people speak the language. My dear student, I already discussed in the class once or twice in 9th standard that Andhra Pradesh was the first state to be carved out on the basis of the language they spoke. Okay, in 1953 there was a long struggle and strike in order to implement this type of rule. Okay, so boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create the new state. For example, you find out Chhattisgarh has been carved out from Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand has been carved out from Bihar, then Uttar Pradesh has been carved out from Uttarakhand. So what happens? This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. You come in the Haryana, generally all those people who speak Haryanvi, they mainly stay in Haryana. All those people who speak Bengali, they mainly resides within the territories of West Bengal. Okay, so these are one of the area which helps the Indian government to run federalism smoothly. Okay, and the last point is restricting the central state relationship. Center and state relationship must be very strong in the sense the state must obey the rules and regulation made by the central government, but the center has not taken any power from the state so that they will be helpless or they cannot form any of the rule. No, any of the state legislature or state assembly has the full power to execute the rules and regulation by their own, but by getting the permission from the central government. Okay, so my dear student, this was the chapter of federalism. Hopefully most of the topics I have covered. Any doubt and all, you will be contacting me personally. Thank you. Have a nice day.